Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Ako si Jocelyn at ngayon ay pag-uusapan natin ang illegal immigration dito sa Amerika.
A new report out from the Wall Street Journal citing multiple sources saying the incoming administration is planning a, quote, large-scale immigration raid in Chicago.
A big raid all across the country.
Chicago is expected to begin Tuesday morning, one day after President-elect Trump's inauguration. Their report adding that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement will send as many as 200 officers to carry this out.
And all that starts on January 21st. Yeah! And we're going to start right here in Chicago, Illinois.
Gaano karaming illegal immigrants ang nasa US ngayon?
Nationwide, the Homeland Security Department estimates from 2022 that there are about 11 million unauthorized immigrants in our country. Some would call those folks undocumented immigrants. The highest numbers, not surprisingly, in California and Texas. Percentage-wise, there are more than 200,000 students in K-12 education with at least one parent without status. That's 1 out of every 10 public school kids. Look, these are a lot of numbers, and we know behind every one of them are people and those who love them, who could be anxious today and in the days to come about all of this.
Ano po ba ang mangyayari kapag sila ay nahuli?
But I want a place where American citizens can call and report. We need to make sure they have an outlet to help report child traffickers, forced labor traffickers. We want to give them an opportunity to be a part of the fix.
You're in the country illegally, you're not off the table. It's not okay to be in this country illegally. You enter the country illegally, which is a crime, you've been ordered removed by a judge, you got a problem.
Naghahanda na po ang ICE Director na si Tom Homan na ipa-deport ang napakaraming illegal immigrants. Ano po ba ang mga hinahanda nila ngayon?
Should we expect workplace raids?
Yes. I wouldn't call it a raid. They're based on investigation. A family needs to be deported, members of the family need to be deported, and that parent needs to make a decision. Again, having your citizen child shouldn't be an amnesty card. They put themselves in that position. So if there's an illegal alien parent it's going to be deported, he has a U.S. citizen child, then he needs to make a decision as a parent.
Still, for days, we've seen extremely long lines outside of the ICE office here in Southwest Charlotte, and some people are telling us it's because they are afraid.
Frustrating. It is really frustrating.
Barker had to submit paperwork. He was originally given an appointment for last week, only to be told to come back this week. For the past 3 days, he's been trying, and after hours of waiting, he finally got through. Everyone in line has a different reason for wanting to come before ICE. Some may be trying to check in with ICE before an immigration hearing or attempt to renew their parole, which is essentially permission to remain in the U.S. for a set period of time. People who entered under the Biden administration entered under parole. Over the past 2 days, we've heard a similar thought process from many in line. They are trying to check in with ICE now before President Donald Trump returns to office.
I'm fearful. We are all fearful. The news, the gossip, that people are going to get deported, one gets very scared.
But because there's limited money right now, doesn't mean we're not going to start day one. We'll deal with it as we're going to start day one. The president's going to take steps to secure the border day one. We're going to start the national operation day one.
What are some of those steps on day one?
As far as, look, I'm not going to get ahead of the president on this. He's going to be announcing some things on day one. And going to be things you've seen in the past, and there's going to be some new things.
Are we talking about re-implementing Title 42?
I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to get ahead of the president on that. But why do I say that? Number one reason, where do we find most victims of forced labor? Worksite operations. The Biden administration said they're concerned about trafficking, to include forced labor trafficking, but they stopped worksite enforcement operations. 3.5 decades, that's where we find a lot of victims of forced trafficking.
How soon should we expect the ramping up of workplace roundups?
We'll have to see.
Are we talking around Inauguration Day, even on Inauguration Day?
I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to forecast what we're doing and where we're doing it, but you can count on worksite enforcement coming back.
Do you plan to prosecute public officials who don't help you?
What I would say is, sanctuary cities don't want to help us, that's fine. I think it's wrong, but that's fine, because I would think any elected official would want to remove public safety threats from the communities. But there's a line they can't cross. Now, I've heard things saying we're going to put roadblocks up and not allow you in the city. Well, that's a clear violation of federal law. If you don't want to help us, then don't help us. We're going to do it anyways. You're not going to lock us out of your city. We're going to do this job.
Will there be collateral arrests?
Yes.
So, for example, if you go after a immigrant who has a criminal record, you find him at home, his wife is there. She does not have a criminal record. Does she get arrested?
Is she illegally in the United States?
If she's undocumented, does she get arrested too?
Yes. She'll be processed, and we'll let the immigration judge decide what happens to her. They all have the right to see an immigration judge.
Grandma, for example, does she get arrested as well?
She in the country illegally?
Yes.
Then she'll be put in front of an immigration judge too. It's not okay to be in this country illegally. It's not okay to violate laws and across that border. It's going to be based on the specifics of each case and each person we encounter.
Discretion for each ICE agent. That gives a lot of power to each ICE agent.
Yes. Shouldn't they have that power? I mean, you give an officer the ability to take a life if he has to. We should give him the discretion on does this arrest serve the mission, and does this arrest serve the nation?
Should birthright citizenship come to an end?
I'll leave that up to the president to make that decision.
But what's your opinion? Do you think it should?
I'll say this: birthright citizenship is a major driver of illegal immigration, and that's what the whole controversy is about right now, right? If you come in the country illegally, which is a crime, you get ordered, you lose your hearing, the federal judge says you must go home, or you don't show up in court and you get what they call an order in absentia, order removed, and have a U.S. citizen child. People think they should be immune. The law means nothing to you now because you knew you're in the country illegally. You chose to have an illegal alien. You chose to have a U.S. citizen child, knowing you're in the country illegally, knowing you were ordered deported, and you went and made that decision. That's on you.
What would you say to potentially Trump supporters, Trump voters, farmers, ranchers who employ undocumented immigrants as part of their industry? Should they be worried that their workforce is going to leave?
I would tell you, wait and see what we do with worksite enforcement before you make that judgment. There's a legal way to bring in agricultural workers in this country. If it needs to be expanded, if the Department of Labor can say that we don't have the workforce to do it, then it's up to Congress to make a fix. But right now, we're going to force the law as is.
Will mass deportation hurt the economy?
I think mass deportation and results of mass deportation are more important to this country than anything. I don't put a price on Laken Riley's life. I don't put a price on all these young women who have been raped and murdered. I don't put a price on our national security. What price do you put on national security? So I think the national security of this nation, we can't afford another 9/11. We can't keep affording American citizens dying at the hands of illegal aliens.
You have mentioned that there could be a hotline for people to call in to report undocumented immigrants in their communities.
That's one thing we're considering, yeah.
One thing you're considering. What would that look like?
That's what we're working on it now. What makes sense? That's still a fresh idea. Working on it.
Public sector has some great technology. You're like, we're cops, right? We're not. The public sector has some really talented people who have a lot of sophisticated programs so we can find people. So we contract a lot of this work out.
Naghahanda na po ang ICE Director na si Tom Homan para ipa-deport ang 11 million na illegal immigrants na nakatira ngayon sa Amerika. Pakinggan natin ang babala ng bagong ICE Director na mag-i-implement ng mass deportation sa mga illegal immigrants dito sa Amerika.
You can come to the greatest nation on earth, but you got to do it legally. Anybody wants a visa, they get through this vetting process, and if you get some derogatory information, you're not getting a visa. Anybody who's walking around this country that's a footprint of some kind, digital footprint. Mm-hmm. You know, whether it's a mortgage, a car payment, you're paying an electric bill, or your facial recognition was seen at an airport or a bus station. A lot of these cities have cameras everywhere, like New York City, and so there's a lot of technology where, you know, license plate readers. There's just so much out there. Everybody has a footprint. It amazes me how much of a footprint I have. Right? One of these technology companies came back and said, okay, here's what we know about you. And it's amazing the information they had. And so we're going to use the finest technology in the world to find these people because it's important. We need to find them. And we're hoping for help from the American people too.
Well, I believe what they want to do, rather than just let them run free within the country with no way of tracking them down or contacting them, this works very well for us when we release people from custody. We don't have to worry about them skipping bail or anything like that. And basically, it's a GPS monitor that anyone that is hooked up to that site, that software, can monitor where the people are. We can be alerted when they cut the GPS device off, and it's basically it's a very convenient and easy way to monitor people that we want to monitor.
Mag-ingat ang mga illegal immigrants na nasa Amerika. Ito po ang babala.
This operation President Trump wants to do and that we're going to do, successful as our targeting is. We need to find these people. So I've been meeting with these tech companies the last couple of weeks, find out what's the latest and brightest technology available. So we're already working on that plan. We'll find many of them, but I'll be honest, we're not going to find all of them.
So, dalawang klase po ang illegal immigrant. Ang illegal immigrant na pumasok sa Amerika na walang inspection. Ito po yung mga tumatawid sa mga borders. Pangalawang klase ng illegal immigration ay ito po yung mga pumasok sa Amerika pero nag-overstay ng kanilang visa. Lalong-lalo na po dun sa mga may hawak ng non-immigrant visa for a specific purpose. Pero sa mga naghintay at nagbayad at nag-provide ng mga documents at mga financial support, hindi po fair ang system kung inaalaw ng US government ang mga illegal immigrants na pumasok sa Amerika nang walang dokumento. Kaya lang meron pa rin pong mag-oppose sa pagkakaroon ng mass deportation. Ito po ay mga mayor or governor sa mga places na tinatawag na sanctuary cities. Ito po yung mga nagpo-protect sa mga illegal immigrants.
I cannot believe as an elected mayor or elected governor, you do not want public safety threats out of your community? Well, if you don't, just get out of the way because ICE will do it for you. If you don't let me in your jail and you release this guy, the bad guy, we're going to go into a neighborhood and find him with a whole team of people, and we're probably going to find others that weren't even on our radar, and they're going to go too. I've given warning. Do not impede us. Do not knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from ICE authorities because that is a crime. And we'll prosecute those crimes.
Salamat po sa pagsubaybay sa aking YouTube channel. At kung meron po kayong katanungan or komento, i-post lang po sa comments section below. Salamat po sa lahat. I hope everyone is staying safe and have a great day.